A shocking statistic: over 1.4 million Americans had their identities stolen last year, with an average loss of $1,100 per person. And that's just the cases we know about.
Those numbers are truly staggering. What really gets me is how many people still don't have basic credit protection in place.
Well, that's exactly what happened to me last week. Someone tried opening a credit card in my name in another state, and I realized I'd been leaving my financial front door wide open without a credit freeze.
Hmm. You know what's interesting about credit freezes? They've been free by law since 2018, but surveys show less than 20% of Americans actually use them.
That's mind-boggling considering how simple the process has become. I just went through it with all three bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, and the whole thing took less than 20 minutes.
So what actually happens when you set up these freezes? I think a lot of people are unclear about the mechanics.
Think of it like a digital fortress around your credit file. When the freeze is active, no one can access your credit report, which means they can't open new accounts in your name, even if they have all your personal information. And here's what's fascinating: the protection is instant.
That's really powerful protection. But what about legitimate credit checks?
Oh, that's where the system has gotten so much more sophisticated. You can temporarily lift the freeze in minutes through your online account. You can even specify exactly how long you want it lifted for, like if you're going apartment hunting next weekend.
The technology has really evolved. Remember when we had to keep track of those PIN numbers and wait days for changes to take effect?
Ugh, yes. And speaking of evolution, let me tell you about something that shocked me. Credit bureaus are now using AI and machine learning to detect fraudulent activity patterns. The systems can spot potential identity theft before it even happens.
That's fascinating technology. How does it work with the freeze system?
So the AI acts as an extra layer of protection. Even if someone manages to request a credit check, the system analyzes patterns like geographic location, timing, and type of credit request to flag suspicious activity. But and this is crucial, the freeze is still your strongest first line of defense.
You mentioned setting up accounts with all three bureaus. Could you walk us through that process?
Well, you'll need some basic documents: ready social security number, current address, previous addresses from the past 2 years, and a valid ID. The verification questions can get pretty specific. They might ask about old loans or addresses from years ago. It's actually a good sign that they're being so thorough.
That makes sense for security. What about families? I've heard children are increasingly becoming targets.
Oh my goodness, yes, and this is terrifying. Children's social security numbers are like gold to identity thieves because they're a clean slate. The worst part: the average time to discover child identity theft is 7.1 years. By then, the damage can be astronomical.
That's a really long time for fraud to go undetected.
Exactly why parents should freeze their children's credit too. It requires more documentation, typically birth certificates, social security cards, and proof of guardianship, but it's absolutely worth the extra effort. And here's something most people don't know. You should check if your child even has a credit report. If they do, and you haven't opened any accounts, that's a huge red flag.
These are all excellent points. Any final thoughts for someone considering a credit freeze?
Well, consider this: the average identity theft victim spends 200 hours and $1,300 recovering their identity. A credit freeze takes 20 minutes and costs nothing. And unlike credit monitoring services that just alert you to fraud after it happens, a freeze prevents it entirely. It's literally the difference between having a security camera that records someone breaking into your house versus having a strong lock that prevents them from getting in at all.
That's a really powerful analogy to end on.
And remember, in today's digital world, it's not if your information will be compromised, but when. Taking these steps now is like having an umbrella ready before the storm hits.